Gustav Mahler, Willie Nelson, Thomas Paine, George Patton, Sylvester Stallone, Susan Strasberg, Sting, Voltaire, Dennis Weaver, Cindy Williams, all believers in reincarnation. There are many more who believe in reincarnation. Probably some of the people you come to respect and like and did not know this. But this, one of the books he put out, well, like I said, we showed this one already, The Many Mansions, right?
Yes, we did.
And, here is a very good book if you want to find out about reincarnation from a little kid, a little baby, when he was a little child, started growing up, started remembering things. And his parents were baffled as to why he was saying what he was saying. And they found out by investigating and things like that, that he had lived as a pilot and died in the Second World War. And what happened was that in the book, they take him to certain places and he sees the people that were a part of his flight, of the pilots. And he sees these people and he says things that the people say, well, hey, he couldn't, this child had to be the person that they knew at that time. He had come back before they had passed away and met the people again. It's a real interesting book called Soul Survivor. He used to have nightmares when he was growing up as a child. And he would kick and fight in his bed. And he would say, little something, I have to get out, have to get out, have to get out. His plane, I think, caught on fire during the Second World War and it went down into the sea. And he couldn't get out. And he was remembering this. But it's a very interesting, very good book to read.
And the next book we have is
Life Beyond Death by Tony Bushby. This is a very good book too. Talked about the tunnel of light that people see, the journey to the other side. Like I said, I had like some doctors will say that when they have a near-death experience, something goes in the brain, something happens there, and they don't really have an out-of-body experience. They don't see these things. Something just happens during that period of time, but it's not real. But I had out-of-body experience without being near death. I just had it, so I know it's true. I have a whole lot.
You guys can see there's a little glare on the back.
There is two other good books too. I don't know if I have them down here. Called Destiny of Souls and Journey of Souls. It's the in between. What happens in between lives. I always had books dealing with past lives, but I always wanted to know what happens in between lives, and those are two good books. Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. But I forget who it was by, and I don't think I have them down here. I don't believe. Yeah, I don't think I have them down here, but they were big books.
All right, next we have
Mansions of the Soul, written by Dr. A. Spencer Lewis, Ph.D., who was the imperator of the Rosicrucian Order at a certain period of time.
And also we did a video on the coming revolution about Spencer Lewis's theory.
Money. About the monetary system. It's another very good book.
Tell us more about it.
Well, he goes on to explain how, like for instance, light bulbs. Now, he talks about light, like the bulb being a body designed to house light. And you can build these lights in the like we have here in various shapes and plug them in, and they have different colors to them. But the force within it is the same force. It's the life force of the bulb. The bulb only houses it, and it can show in different shapes, different sizes, and different colors, just like we do. The light within us is an extension of the Supreme Intelligence in different color bodies, in different sizes, and in different shapes. But we're all connected. There is no disconnect. We're all tied together.
And here you'll see in the back more information on the book. And also we get to see what Spencer Lewis looks like. Not a bad looking guy. He looked like he ate a lot.
Yeah. It's a most rewarding experience. Things that I have learned. I'm glad of my experience, even though hard as it may have been in the war, because it started me on a course of study that is most rewarding. Most rewarding.
And guys, if you want to read some of the books I've just put up and read the back, just pause the video and you guys can get to read it.
But it'll come back. Reincarnation will come back into teachings. It'll come back.
All right, it's great. Now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about reincarnation
Yes.
and just have a discussion.
And I would have never known it to be true until I had my out-of-body experiences. If I can get out once, 2, 3, or 4 times, how many times have I done it before? Other times I just don't remember. Yeah.
Have we discussed about your out-of-body experiences?
I don't know.
Well, briefly, just give us an overlap in case some of our viewers haven't seen any of the previous episodes.
Yeah, my wife and I had just left a friend of ours. I think I might have mentioned it. Her name was Kitty. She was a singer like my wife. And when we came home, I think I mentioned we had a pyramid. She had a little pyramid that I think may have triggered it, but I'm not sure. I didn't think of it at the time because I found it and just recently they're finding out about pyramids. At least if you build it a certain way, if you hold something over it that can register energy, it's sort of like what you call emanates energy from the top of it. They're finding out this now. I have a video I just got called "The Power of Three," talking about the pyramids in Egypt, how how they can take pictures and see sort of energy leaving the top of it. Well, here's what happened. We were over there visiting her, and she had one of these small pyramids, which had a little opening at the top. My wife and Kitty were sitting at the dining room table. I was at the end. I'm looking in it like this. So they had an opening and it had beads on the side, like 4 beads that were sort of like plastic, and it allowed light to come in. If there was light outside, you could see it come in. On the inside was looked like the shiny part of tinfoil, real tight along the sides of the wall of the pyramid. And I'm looking in, thinking I would see something like a crystal ball, like I might see something. I looked in one eye, I didn't see anything. I looked in the other eye, I didn't see anything, and eventually I stopped. We stayed there for a while, and we came back home. I got in bed first. I was laying flat on my back. My wife came in. She had to go around to the other side. She got into bed. She was reading something. She had the night light on. I had my stereo set on. And all of a sudden, I found myself, not the physical body now. My consciousness, where it was here, was all of a sudden doing like this. But the body was still. The consciousness was moving like, I'm not sure which way it started first, but like this, from here to here. And when it got to back to here, it's like I sat up in bed. And I said, "Oh, Dolly, look, I'm out of my body." Oh, man. I said, Dolly, look, I could hear myself. I said, Dolly, look, I'm out of my body. She couldn't hear it. And all of a sudden, I started being pulled back, what I call pulled back. It wasn't like a push. And I said, no, I don't want to go back. I want to experience more of this. And it's like I came to that same sitting position, and I'm still trying to get my wife's attention. And eventually,
don't worry, he wasn't drinking.
No, I don't drink.
Like that.
I don't drink. I don't even smoke. and I came
once
back.
Upon a time, you did.
What, smoke?
Yeah,
when I started when I was 11, but in the 1970s I stopped. I finally was able to get the car, and my wife stopped too.
That's good.
That was in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was pulled back to the body and was in the body again, the body was able to respond to my desires to get my wife's attention. And I told her what happened. We went to the kitchen, had some tea or coffee. I think it was tea. And we sat down and talked about it because she could do it. She could project her consciousness outside of her body when it was necessary. She had to do it. She could do it because she did for a person.
Yeah, we did an episode on that. You guys can check that out.
Yeah. I won't go into any more of that. But people study. Get to study and find out what you are, who you are, the richness that is within you. Study. Don't let this school and this system keep you from finding out about things.
Yes, study.
Don't sit there and accept what somebody tells you without question. That's what the order tells. The order that I'm in, they tell you don't accept it. Do your experiments, do your exercises. We want you to know. Knowledge is knowing. And you don't know a doggone thing until you personally experience it. That's when you truly know something. And like I said, I don't care about people's thoughts. They can think what they want to think about me. I know what I experienced, and it's been a most rich and rewarding experience. And I would I wouldn't take all the money in the world to give this up, because I know what it is now.
Okay, got some questions for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I believe in the theory. I believe in reincarnation. That's my personal view on it. The people who've had, before we get into the question, I just want to get viewers who want to know what my opinion is on the subject of reincarnation. Yes, I believe in it. There've been many people who have, like Bernard mentioned, talk about a previous life and have gone to the place where they lived in that past life and knew the area and knew some of the people, and it's just amazing if you really look into it. Like Bernard said, look into the subject, study it, and it's amazing some of the stories you hear about people who have remembered it or have had some kind of regression to get the information and the memories resurface. But now the questions I have, because they're skeptics who don't believe in reincarnation, and some of them might say, let's say, churchgoers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, well, it's not why if it was so, why wouldn't the church acknowledge reincarnation? What's wrong with it?
Well,
Because we're supposed to pay for our sins, right?
yeah. The powers that be, especially in religion, want you to feel that, how do you say it? They want you responsible to them. You have to come to them to be saved. It's like the church says, no matter what you do, I don't care how much wrong you've done. If you believe in them, you come to them and have the sacraments and things like that, you will enter the kingdom of heaven. They have you when they do that. They have you in their power. But reincarnation, that means you are responsible for your own acts. You are held accountable. You can change it. If you've done something wrong, if you can be aware of it before that karmic debt is to face you, to teach you the lesson. If you learn before that, then that's eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to some church leader and say, "Oh, pray for me, I sinned and all this." Yeah, what can he do? He's doing so much wrong himself by telling lies to the people. And I really get on them, because they are the people who people look up to. They don't know, and they think that they're going to give them the right answers, and they're giving all kinds of wrong answers. That's why the world is in the condition that it's in.
Well, next question now would be, we all sin. We all sin. We do wrong things. That means we're all going to have to pay for it in another lifetime? Is that how it would go for those who don't know about reincarnation?
Well, if you have to, we have to perfect ourselves. We have to do the things that are right. If
So
we're doing,
is there a perfect person?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, we can reach what you would call on this earth a certain stage of perfection, whereby we no longer have to come back here. But then you go to another place. There are more things to learn, I guess. That's the way it works. You keep learning. You keep evolving. But you can set yourself back if you start doing the wrong thing again. But it's steps. There's steps.
So if we have, I don't know, what's the number, 7 billion people or trillion people on planet Earth?
I don't know how many people.
Something like that. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, each one of us have souls.
Mm-hmm.
So that means all 7 billion of us will go through cycles?
Everybody goes. We all go through cycles.
Yeah.
We all go through cycles.
Now what happens?
We're all on different paths. Like we're not all on the same path. So there are certain things that we don't learn. We have to learn.
So is there, from what you've learned, is there a waiting list for people who pass? Let's say someone passes away. You see a ghost. Are they still in transition here? A spirit?
Some, I don't know how. I did only what I can guess from what I've read. There are some people of what you call earthbound only for a certain period of time. I'll give you an example. a person who was a member of the order, who was in the upper echelons, like, had a friend who he claimed to be like a bar hopper. He wasn't a member of the order, but he would like to go to the bars all the time. His whole life was in the bars, you know. And something happened in his life, and he passed away. I don't know it was an accident or what. But my friend, well, not my friend, I'm sorry. the person who was a member of the order in the upper echelons felt that his friend was not at peace. And he went into some sort of a meditation of some sort, and he contacted him on the other side, and he was in a bar. But the bar was its own making. He created, by his thoughts, the condition that he was in. And he wasn't at peace. Even though he was in a bar, he still wasn't at peace. He knew something was wrong. So, according to this, the person contacted him, mentally like, and told him that he was not on the earth anymore. That what he was in was his own making. And if he wanted more peace, somehow to seek something, seek the light or something like that. I forget how it went. But after he explained it to him, then the person sort of like left that condition and went on to where he was supposed to go. So
if it's a made-up thing and people see it, then how are we able to see his soul?
Well, he saw it because he wasn't in his physical body.
He wasn't, but how do we see it in our physical bodies? Like people who see ghosts, the specters.
Oh, from the pineal gland.
The
pineal.
Because I once had a ghost experience when I
gland.
was younger, and at a friend's house, we were playing hide and seek, and my friend, he was the one who had to, find us, and me and his brother, we hid. I hid in the room next to the room he was counting in, and his brother went downstairs to hide. So I hid under the bed in the room next to the room he was counting in, and when he finished counting, what happened, he came out of the room and he went downstairs. And his room was right next to the staircase. And the door, which was his bedroom that he was counting in, the bedroom that was next door to his was his grandmother's. And I left the door open purposely to make him think that I wouldn't hide in there and leave the door open. But I was under the bed. So I was looking from under the bed to see which direction he would go. If he would come into the bedroom I was hiding in, what I would do is I would tuck more over to the wall under the bed. That way he wouldn't see me easily, and he would really have to get on all fours to look. But to my luck, he didn't even think about searching the upstairs. He just went downstairs, because we were upstairs before he counted. So as soon as he went downstairs, I quickly got out from under the bed, and in the closet in his grandmother's room, it's like a walk-through closet, which I can go into his room through the closet. And that's what I was going to do. Go back to the room he was counting in, not thinking that I would go back there to hide in it, because he was just in the room. So as I was coming out from under the bed, I was watching the staircase just to see if he would come back upstairs. And I wasn't looking anywhere else but the open door and the staircase. So as I got up now, I started proceeding towards the closet, which was to my right. And as I was going, I was still looking at the door of the staircase, and I bumped into something halfway between, let's say the bed is here, and the closet is here, and the door would be here. I was coming here, and then halfway through it, I bumped into something, and I looked to it on my right, and it was a little girl. I didn't think anything of it. I just, said, go hide. What ran through my mind, and I only got a glimpse of her for maybe about a second. And I remember they had like a little white dress on. The hair, it's kind of, I think it was maybe brown or blonde hair, but seemed like Caucasian or light skin or like Spanish, because he was a Colombian. He was mixed Colombian and Indian, but he had a lot of relatives on his Colombian side. So I went through the closet now. I didn't look back at her, but when I told her to go hide, I thought that it was only us in the house, the three of us in the house. His parents had gone out and was us alone. But like I said, he has a lot of relatives, so they would just come over, and that's what I thought happened. Or maybe they didn't tell me that she was there. I wasn't analyzing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just playing the game and really, was focused on knowing where he is if he's going to come back upstairs. So I bumped into her. I felt her physically. And then I went and looked at her. I just glanced at her and said, "Go hide." And I went into the closet, proceeded into his room, and I hid under his bed. And eventually, I got caught. And the game ended. Now, I didn't see her again. But I didn't think anything of it to ask until we got downstairs. It was a hot summer day. And we got something to drink in the kitchen. And I just brought it up to him. "Where's your cousin?" And he just looked at me. And he just looked at me confused. And his brother. Like, "What are you talking about?" They would look baffled. Like, "Yeah, I think your cousin. I bumped into her in your grandmother's room." And they're still looking at me like I'm crazy. And I mean, I know what happened. I experienced it. I bumped into her. So I mean, I know I'm not crazy because I looked at her and I saw her. But she didn't say anything to me. I forgot to mention that. She didn't say anything to me. She was just there. And only got a glimpse of her for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So now in the kitchen, we're talking about it, and I told them what happened. And ghost was the last thing going through my head. That was the last thing going through my head. I was thinking they were playing some kind of game on me, where their cousin came into the house and somehow was upstairs. Because I started thinking about what happened. Although they didn't tell me, they wanted to trick me, and my friend and his brother thought I was playing games with them. So after going back and forth, and I'm telling them I'm serious. It then started to dawn on me because no one else came downstairs at that point, and the house was quiet, and the thought just popped in my head that maybe what just happened to me, maybe I saw a ghost. But then I'm trying to from what I've learned about ghosts, you can go through them, they can go through walls. They're white, they have like a little thing on them, like boo. And it was solid. It was like a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like how it can bump into you. It's matter. Because I found that very interesting and never got to the bottom of it. And
they never knew anything about the person?
no, they never had any type of ghost encounters or anything. At least that's what they told me.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, I had stayed with them overnight. Another event that took place after that ghost encounter, and I never had any other sighting like after that.
Mm-hmm.
But we lost contact, and it's been maybe well over 15 years that we've spoken.
Mm.
But I mean, now with reincarnation, how that ties in with reincarnation. Now, once your soul leaves the body, you're not in the physical body anymore.
Mm.
So how does that explain what happened to me now? If I bumped into this little girl and she was solid as a physical body would be.
I don't
know. Unless I mean, there's a way they can. But then why would they need to enter our physical body if they can just be solid?
She wasn't solid then. She couldn't have been. She probably wasn't solid. But she felt like, she felt. Maybe her energy was so strong. It felt like she was solid. I don't know. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
Because
It's even sometimes when I think about it, it's just like, wow. Am I crazy? I mean, not only did I felt her, and I saw her.
Mm-hmm.
That's two types of ways of experiencing something.
Mm-hmm.
Touch, feel,
mm-hmm.
and seeing it visually.
Mm. Well, there are claims by people, who see people and they seem to be solid to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they do things, they can move things, or they make things move.
Mm-hmm. So now with reincarnation, when someone passes away, and let's say a soul is earthbound, how long can they be earthbound for?
I don't know. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Because sometimes
some people are what they call what they say, and I don't know how true it is. They're absorbed in material things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may have a house that they've adored, and they just don't want to leave that house.
Mm-hmm.
And they stay with it until something happens, and they become aware that they're not, you know, not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They have to leave. They will eventually leave, but you know, some can make them aware that they're. Some of them, like certain things can happen so quickly as far as death is concerned, you don't realize you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you hang around for a while thinking you're still here on Earth. You're alive, you know, physically, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Reincarnation.
Yep.
Now, I was going to ask you another thing. I lost my thought on what the question I was going to ask you in reincarnation.
Well, it's like my I said it before. My wife came through the door when I was in bed, just got in bed.
Oh, now I remember the question. Go ahead.
Okay. I felt her presence.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the energy come right through the door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I knew that was Dolly. I said, "Oh, that's Dolly."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Now, what was I going to say? Kind of lost my thought again.
Yeah, but she came right through the door,
mm-hmm.
and went right down the side of the bed over to the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something. I mean, I had never had that happen to me, but I'm glad she did that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad she did, because I had I had my out of body experience. I had never been visited by anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Gee. We don't know who we truly are. You know, we look in the mirror and think that's something. We limit our development.
Mm-hmm.
Gee. Our awareness of things.
Well, my thought will come back to me, but I have another question until it comes back to me. Why isn't this stuff more on television? Meaning, like, why isn't it more talked about? Why is it taboo? Why is it ridiculed?
Because a lot of people don't know it. They don't know anything about it.
But those that do know...
the ones that do know, I mean, they talk about it, but most people don't hear it because they don't look into it.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about it, but people are just not interested in looking into it. That's why I tell the people, study, research, find out about what's going on in the world.
But why do you think that some people don't want to study it? Do you think they're in denial?
They're taught that these things don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're
Are they afraid that it would interfere with what they have learned?
Yes, that's another thing. Sure.
That they don't want. They want to.
They can't set aside what they've already accepted, and accept it without any real knowing whether it exists or not. They accepted it, and they can't set that aside to look into something else.
Mm-hmm. And
then the church says, "No, that's not so. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know, once you're dead, you're dead. You got to wait till the end of times and all this stuff when you're gonna come out of the grave." And all that BS.
Okay, now it came back to me. Now I remember. It's called remembrance. Now, someone who's skeptical about reincarnation or doesn't know about it, they might think, how can someone who's a grown man or a grown woman remember a past lifetime if they can barely remember their childhood? Parts in their childhood.
I don't know. Some people just have that ability, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember. I believe it because of the experience I've had, but I can't remember my past. I wish I could. And I'm not really interested in the past life that much. I'm interested in what happens in between when I leave this body, before I incarnate again, what happens in between. I know physical existence, you go through physical things. You know, you do the right thing or the wrong thing, you have to reap what you've sown.
Yeah, meaning like, if people who remember, let's say they're 30 or 40 years old, and they do or they just remember or have a regression where they remember a past life. But in the lifetime they're in now, they remember their childhood, but they don't remember specific dates of their childhood. So how would they explain that? Because skeptics would say, how can you remember the past if you can barely remember your current life now?
Because it's there. It's in your head. Give me an example. Maybe I can do it this way. Let's say, for instance, as a kid growing up, you fall madly in love with a young lady, and she wears a certain type of perfume, right? And somehow it doesn't work out. You're heartbroken and everything and things like that. As the years go on and on and on and on, and all of a sudden it's forgotten. It's buried among the other things. You fall in love with somebody else, you marry, you have a family and things like that. And you've forgotten all about this. It's there, but you forget it's buried now. It doesn't come to fore. And all of a sudden you walk past a store that's selling perfumes. And to attract you, they said, put the smells out so you can, let me go in here and see what kind of perfume it is. And they happen to have that same perfume moving out in the air that the young lady had. As soon as it comes right back. It triggers, it's there, but it triggers something
it's almost like deja vu.
Yeah, it triggers that buried experience that's in your, it's there. But something has to trigger it to make you remember it again. But it's there. Yeah, that's the way I can explain it. Sure. Yeah, I know, because people have claimed to went to foreign countries, had the urge to go to a foreign country for some reason, went to a certain area and say, I've been here before. I remember there was a story of a young lady who wanted to go to a certain country. She went to this country, she came to a certain area, said, I've been here before. And there was a hill, and she said, over this hill is a certain building that looks like this and looks like that, and it was for a certain purpose. And when he went over the hill, there was the building. And she'd never been in that country before. So she came to an area that triggered it. Made her aware. It hadn't changed that much, so when she got there, it triggered that experience that she had. But like they say, whatever we've been through, we never forget it. We never really forget it. It may be kept from, maybe buried because of the things that we learn. But it's still there, and it just have to be like hypnotists. Hypnosis. Sometimes they can pull these things forth. Yeah.
Now, two more questions to add on reincarnation. One is about newborns, and the other one is about abortion. Now, with the one with newborns, if certain people who have this ability of reincarnation, you think that most people coming in know this, and if they do know this, why don't they, if they've had another lifetime, why don't they remember the basic things like language, reading, writing, being able to communicate, rather than we see newborns who we have to teach them. They have to learn as it goes. If they're coming into this world uncorrupted, the memories would be fresh for them to have learned, wouldn't it be? For those that
It's because of our parents. The parents will not encourage them to remember. They figure, they don't believe in it.
But what I'm trying to say, they don't know how to communicate. When a baby comes in, the baby doesn't know how to. It learns from us.
Yeah.
Like Dada and Mama, it's learning from us.